Hello, I'm Andrew Roth, and I'm going to be teaching you all about NASA, the ins and outs. They do a lot more than space exploration. They involve themselves a lot more than people think into our country and the people in our country. They don't just aimlessly wander space all day. This will teach you a lot more about NASA, what they do on their daily basis, and what they plan on doing in the future. I used to always want to become an astronaut, but that goal is fairly far-fetched, so I've switched my career path to engineering. But I was always interested in what they were doing and what they plan on doing. Now, NASA does a lot in space, and in the future, they also are discovering new technology that we use here on Earth almost every single day, and they also help educate the future generations, especially in universities and colleges around the United States. NASA has broad plans. They're always shaping what they're doing next. Now, what they do in space and what their future plans are. Recently, they've just taken a picture of the New Horizon black hole. This was a huge accomplishment. It's never been done before. It took many, many massive satellites and mirrors to get this done. And the image of this black hole was actually millions and millions of years old. The reason for that is because the light particles take that long to get here. So these light particles were sent off from the black hole that long ago and are just not reaching here. That's what we intercepted. NASA and other space programs like SpaceX have the ambition to go place man on Mars. And they plan on doing this decade, around 2028. And that would be absolutely crazy to start colonizing Mars. Now, here they do many things for us on Earth as well on a daily basis. They've invented so many new technologies, but they're rarely given credit for it. For example, NASA is invented the water filter, which is used almost every day in communities around the world. This, which many of you probably know what it is it filters dirtier water into clean drinking water that we use. They've also invented the insulin pump. And this is very important for people with diabetic needs, and it will automatically measure your insulin levels or your blood sugar levels and automatically deposit insulin in your bloodstream when needed, instead of manually measuring and manually injecting insulin into your body. How they educate people around the country and in universities. They give massive funds to some universities, like the University of Tennessee. And what these colleges do with the funds are research different things that they were granted the money for. For example, Tennessee did a lot with aviation research and aerodynamics for planes and ended up finding out new things that were very helpful. And NASA also uses satellites to predict things on Earth and measure things that would never, ever be able to be measured if they didn't have these satellites in space. For example, the icebergs melting. They measured the icebergs deficit each year, how much it's melted, and predict how much it will melt in the future. Now, for all these things, it's crazy because NASA is funded by the federal government. And each one of these circles is 1% of the United States federal government out of everything it funds. And so each one of these circles is 1%. And NASA only gets 0.5% of the entire nation's funds, which is just half a circle, which I believe it's crazy because they come up with so many crazy new ideas and things, and they only use up 0.5% of the United States funds. And they also bring money in with other country space programs. They use our NASA satellites and rockets to ship things up into outer space, like their own satellites. There's so much more in NASA's future and awaits to be researched and discovered. It's almost endless. But NASA has done so much in the way of educating us and providing us with a brighter future day after day. They've also brought new technology and are continuously looking for the next thing to change our life here on Earth. And we cannot see into the future, but maybe one day we will no longer just see the Earth as home. Thank you.